الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير خلق الله سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الأخيار المنتجبين وصحبه الأخيار المنتجبين وعلى جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد، يقول الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات. As we are now in the season of the Ziyara of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, I thought to take some time to reflect on the Ziyara. The first person who established the practice of Ziyarat al-Hussain alayhi salam in Karbala was our dear fourth Imam, Imam Ali ibn al-Hussain Zainul Abidin salamullah alayhi. After the events that happened on the day of Ashura, the year 61 lil-Hijrah, Imam Zainul Abidin had a great responsibility. And one of these great responsibilities that he had was to ensure that the message of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, what happened in Karbala, is clarified to everyone. And that he would continue trying to achieve the objective of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Some of these objectives of the Imam Sajjaad was to embed and cement the memory of Hussain in the conscience of the Ummah, in the conscience of the Ummah. How to do that? This is where Imam Sajjaad alayhi salam emphasized a lot the Ziyara of Hussain. He would go to Karbala frequently. He would encourage people to go to Karbala frequently. And people would go individually first, and then it grew. You would see later in time people would go in groups, and then we reach this day where we see millions of people flocking to Karbala for the Ziyara of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. In the heat, in the cold, despite the dangers, people coming from different places around the world to show love, passion for Hussain alayhi salam, commitment to his project, commitment to his message, renewing the allegiance to the Imam alayhi salam. All this great masterpiece that we see today in Karbala, the starter and the founder of the Ziyaras to Imam Hussain is Imam Sajjaad alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Our Imams afterwards as well, they did emphasize the Ziyara of Hussain in different occasions, important occasions too, in the Islamic calendar. Eid al-Fitr, go for Ziyara of Imam Hussain. Eid al-Adha, mid-Sha'ban, mid-Rajab. If you can't go to Karbala, at least recite a visitation from where you are. If you can't, at least turn your face towards Karbala, raise your hand and say, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Right? Something that reminds you of Hussain. Different occasions. Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, they had a reason behind this. It is because the name of Hussain alayhi salam and the project of Hussain is to revive the name of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam in the consciousness of the Ummah. It is narrated in Kafi from Muawiyah bin Wahab that he said, I entered to the presence of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam and found him prostrating. And after finishing his prayers, I heard him pray and say, O God, give your forgiveness to the visitors of Hussain, who spent their wealth and tired their bodies in order to show us respect and obedience, seeking your pleasure and the happiness in the heart of your messenger, the Prophet. The Imam would continue praying for them more and more. Oh God, reward them. Oh God, protect them and their families and their children and their wealth and their travels. And the Imam would say, Oh God, our enemies have blamed and accused these people because of this visiting Imam al-Hussain. And this did not stop them. Oh God, have mercy on these faces that the sun has changed. Have mercy on these cheeks that turned on the grave of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain alayhi salam. and on the eyes that cried out of mercy for us, and the cries that were over us. Millions of Muslims around the world, my dear brothers, my dear sisters, express love and commitment to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. This shows how great this Imam is, the greatness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this Imam, the honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him, to the extent that the Imam would be remembered by these masses, inshallah, till the day of judgment. These people who go to Arba'een and try to connect themselves with what Ahlul Bayt have experienced, with what the family and the women of the Prophet's household have experienced. Walking in the desert, miles and miles away, wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah. Trying to connect with them through these hardships that they have experienced. Isn't this one of the best examples of the hadith that says, ahyoo amrana, rahimallahu man ahya amrana? Revive our cause. May Allah's mercy be upon the one who revives our cause. Isn't this one of the best examples of reviving the cause of Ahlul Bayt? Ziyarat al-Arba'een, the visiting of Imam Hussain alayhi salam on the day of Arba'een, has become a pillar of the identity of the school of followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Has become a very important icon of honor, of glory. It is an opportunity for people who identify with Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam to show this love towards each other, to show this mercy towards each other. Al-mu'minuna wal-mu'minatu, Allah says in the Quran, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan al-rajim, Al-mu'minuna wal-mu'minatu ba'duhum awliya'u ba'd. To show this wilaya amongst the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. That's a great opportunity. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has obligated Hajj upon us all, one of the ocean of the fruits of this obligation is that people come from different backgrounds, different countries, different races, different colors, different languages, different history, different everything. The common factor between them is that they have the love for God in their hearts. That's what unites them. And this is the spirit that connects them in Mecca. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, give us that tawfiq to go for Hajj. One of these fruits is something that we see displayed in Karbala as well. Those who come for the sake or for the reason that the common factor between them is love and compassion and passion for Hussain alayhi salam. It's an opportunity for those people to show love for each other, to serve each other, to offer food and drink for each other, to ask about each other's affairs, to learn about each other as well. Any gathering where people or mu'minun gather together, this is one of the fruits of such a gathering. Ziyarat al-Arba'een these days is a seasonal opportunity for the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam to connect with the marja'iyya, to connect with the scholars, to connect with the ulama, to renew their reverence and respect for the ulama, those who preserved what we have from our deen. Is a gesture of respect as well. It's an opportunity also for the scholars and the marja'iyya to know about what is going on in the world. People coming from different places to show love for Hussain, that's a great opportunity as well. It is a seasonal opportunity as well to invite people, enlighten people, inform people about Hussain, to celebrate also people from different religions, people from different faiths or even no faith, those who respect freedom, to celebrate their reverence for Hussain alayhi salam. Hussain is not a Shi'i cause. Hussain is a humanitarian cause. And the Ziyara these days is one exemplification and embodiment of the fruits of the rise of Hussain alayhi salam. This great Ziyara that we do, visiting Imam Hussain alayhi salam, is indeed one of the best examples by which we show love for Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, by which we show love for Hussain alayhi salam. It is indeed a direct obedience to the recommendations and the instructions of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, that He may help us and that He may register us, inshallah, of the visitors of Hussain alayhi salam. If not this year, inshallah, the year after and many years to come. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal asr, inna al-insana lafi khusr. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك اللهم وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم وصل على الصديقة الكبرى فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والحجة بن الحسن القائم المنتظر المهدي حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة اللهم صل على عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله والورع عن محارمه. My brothers, my sisters, I enjoin you and myself to observe taqwa and stay away from what Allah has prohibited. If I may ask my dear brothers to move forward, inshallah, to allow more space at the back. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, our youth these days and ourselves, we are facing so many questions, so many doubts, yes, that maybe stem from our own selves or from the communities around us. Doubts that could target our faith. And therefore, it is very important that when we practice something, that when we believe something, we have conviction about it. We have good and strong evidence about it. Because if we don't, our faith won't last long. Our faith won't last long. There's a hadith that says that the worship of the learned is not comparable to the worship of the ignorant. It's much greater. Why? Because the learned, when they approach whatever practice they do, they approach it with knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it indeed gets them closer to God. Sometimes if someone who is ignorant like myself goes and prays 1,000 rak'ah per day, how does that get me closer to God if I don't know God? If I don't know what is God, who is God, what His attributes are, who the people that point me to Him are. So it is important to found our beliefs and our practices on evidence, on correct evidence even. And it is important for us to advance correct evidence. I'll talk a bit about some questions that are raised about Ziyarat al-Arba'een. And I think this is an important matter. Of course, when these questions are raised, it is important for us not to judge the people's intentions while you're raising these questions. We should actually commend those who try to investigate, those who try to reach the truth, those who try to be learned in their deen, not following things that we just inherited only because we inherited them. In fact, that was the attitude of the people of Mecca. And they fought the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam because the Prophet, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, because the Prophet brought things that they thought this is against our culture. This is not what we have inherited. But the Prophet was inviting them to exercise their reason, their rationality. His message was not something strange to the human rationality. Some questions that say, why do you do Ziyarat al-Arba'een in specific? Ziyarat of Imam Hussain alayhi salam is great indeed, and we have established that. But Ziyarat al-Arba'een, meaning that greatness of the 40th day that Imam Hussain should be visited in, where did we get that from? Right? And this question is rightly asked. Of course, some would say that, well, there is no record in history or a saying from the Ma'sums that explicitly say or says that go on the day of Arba'een, because on the day of Arba'een it has that great merit, specifically on the day of Arba'een. We don't find these kind of records that are authentic. So these are arguments that are proposed. Some say that the narrative of Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari, the companion of the Prophet, that he left from Medina and arrived in Karbala on the 40th day, and this was the first ziyara that happened, and he happened to have met Imam Zain al-Abideen in there. Some say that, well, if we do some calculations, it can't be possible that the news of Hussein arrived from Karbala to Medina and back, Jabir, who was blind, going from Medina to Karbala, arriving on the 20th of Safar, and that is within 40 days. It is historically very improbable. So that is an argument that is also proposed. Also, we have a narration from Imam Askari alayhi salam, where he says, Alamatul mu'min khams, the signs of the believer are 5. Yes, al-jahru bi bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, that you say bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim loudly, say in salat. Takhattum bil yamin, wearing a ring in the right hand. And one of them is Ziyarat al-Arba'een. And it has been understood widely that Ziyarat al-Arba'een is referring to the ziyara of the Shia to Imam Hussain in Karbala on the day of Arba'een. Some people might say, well, is that what Imam al-Askari meant? So should we not go and investigate? Was that concept there and available at the time of Imam al-Askari alayhi salam? Of course, these arguments are proposed. And again, we should look at them and analyze them, not reject them outright. Again, we should provide an answer and we should have our faiths and practices based on evidence. First, if we don't have a record that an Imam said something, it doesn't mean that the Imam did not say it. And that's a very important concept. Let's say, if I have spoken to Hussain last night and no one knows and no one saw us, can you say, well, no one told me that I spoke to Hussain and therefore it did not happen, although it happened, but you don't know about it. So that's one. And this is where the scholars and investigators, they have to go and look at signs in history to ascertain whether this practice was instigated by Imams or not. And again, I'm talking about the practice of visiting Hussain, particularly on the 20th of Safar. We established that the visitation of Hussain is important any day in the year. But why the 20th of Safar? So, if the Imam did not say something, or if we do not have a record that the Imam said something, it doesn't mean that the Imam did not say it. So that's one. Second, the hadith of Imam al-Askari, yes, some people say that Imam al-Askari could have meant that the Ziyarat al-Arba'een means to visit 40 people, to visit 40 believers of your brothers and sisters, right? To make sure that you show this social connection. And that's a valid argument. But also, we need to think about the possibility that Imam al-Askari could have meant this, and this could have been a practice that was established. Although we do not have an explicit report from the Imam saying, go on the day of Arba'een specifically to Karbala, this could indicate that there might have been some practices that started from the time of Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. Third, when we go to Ziyarat al-Arba'een, we do not go because there is a historical account that said, go to Ziyara Arba'een, or Jabir went to Ziyara on Arba'een. Meaning that, if this account is not authentic, or if it historically does not make sense, it does not mean that what we are doing loses the spirit of it. And that's very important, because sometimes some people think that if others advance arguments against what we think is evidence, then our faith is collapsing. And that's wrong. Let me mention something. I heard it from my dear brother and inshallah teacher, Sheikh Muhammad Javad Shumali. He said something once. He said, look, sometimes you grow up reading a dua, reciting a dua, and it truly transforms you for years and it gets you closer to God. 20 years later, someone tells you, well, this is not authentic. The Imam did not say that dua. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Although there might be a probability that he said it, but fine. But it transformed me. So what if it is not authentic? It got me closer to God. So what if it is not authentic? So what if we do not have an explicit report saying, go and visit Hussain on the day of Arba'een explicitly? Does that remove anything from the spirit or the fruits that Ziyarat al-Arba'een is helping us accomplish? Some people say, well, this is bid'ah. The Prophet did not do it. The Prophet did not do anything related to Arba'een. Yes, that's right. We don't have reports in Islamic traditions that on the day of Arba'een you do something for the believers who pass away, or on the day of the 7th. Yes, so these are practices that started later. Because it's a gathering whereby we remember God, we give the thawab of the amal to the person who passed away. So it's a practice. Yes, the Prophet did not do it, but we never claimed it's part of deen so that you tell us it's bid'ah. The Prophet did not do it. The Prophet did not use any laptop. Should I not use any laptop? The Prophet did not use any mobile phone or ride any car. Should I not ride a car? Yes, we do not ride a car and claim that this is part of Islam. No, we never said that. We never claimed that Arba'een is part of Usuluddin. so that you tell us it's bid'ah. We never claim that Arba'een is part of deen, that if you don't have Ziyarat al-Arba'een, then the deen is not there or not complete. We never claimed that. It is a practice whereby we renew our allegiance in our hearts and on our bodies with Imam Hussain alayhi salam. It is a practice. It is a practice by which we revive the message of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And whatever practice that the Prophet did not explicitly prohibit and is not opposite to the teachings of Islam, and whatever helps us spread the message of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, we will do it. And we will protect it. And this was the attitude, how we believe, of the Imams alayhum as-salam. Although there might not be an explicit report, the Imams pushed for Ziyara of Hussein for a reason. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps us truly find out what that reason was. Truly understand the secrets and the mystery behind this very beautiful name of Hussein bin Ali salamullahi alayhi. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. Let me mention one more thing before I finish. I have 2 more minutes. Another question that is usually asked. Should I go to Ziyara or Umrah or Hajj and pay money, or should I give that money to people who are needy? People who are needy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inshallah have mercy on these tears. I'll mention a narration from Kafi. Someone asked Imam Sadiq, and he said, I have a slave who drinks alcohol and engages in these reprehensible practices. Yeah. So that's sometimes people, when we say slavery in the Muslim history, they think of slavery in European history. Seems this slave had some freedom to go and drink alcohol and exercise the reprehensible. So I want to emancipate him. I want to free him. Is it more beloved to you to emancipate him, O Imam? Should I emancipate him? Should I free him? Or should I sell him and give the value to charity or in charity? Of course, some of us would say, of course, sell him and give the money to charity. Some might say, no, of course, free the man. Freedom, right? What was the answer of the Imam alayhi salam? He said, sometimes emancipation is better. And sometimes charity is better. If people are in a good condition, then emancipation is better. Free. Yeah? Get proximity to God, say, by freeing that slave without supporting any charity with money, everyone is good. But if their condition is severe, then charity is better. Meaning, selling this is more favored to me if this is his condition. He's a person who's drunkard, who drinks, right? Maybe freeing him would have some detrimental effects too. So Imam alayhi salam in this narration, which we should obviously read with the ethical system at the time, not our modern ethical system, Imam is clearly saying that it is circumstantial. It is circumstantial. You need to exercise your judgment and see whether this money that you're spending for Umrah or Ziyara, would it really transform the life of someone around you, next to you? Prioritize that. If people around you are fine, by all means, go to Ziyara. Yes? So this is a very interesting narration I thought to share with you, inshaAllah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.